Hey, what's going on, guys? So in this video, we're going to talk about how to counter the plague as a survivor, effectively turning her into one of the easier killers to go up against in Dead by Daylight. The plague is a killer that seems to get a lot of easy kills simply due to a lack of understanding on the survivor side on how her powers actually work. So the goal of this video is to make your solo queue experience a little bit easier and will pretty much make you unstoppable against her in a 4-man swift. The plague comes with two powers that can make her very difficult to deal with, the Vile Purge and the Corrupt Purge. The Vile Purge is her base ability which can infect survivors, objects, and the environment, causing anyone infected to become sick and eventually broken, leaving them unable to heal until they cleanse at one of her fountains. It is important to remember that she can't actually down you with this though. For that, she needs her more deadly power, the Corrupt Purge, which she gets by drinking from her own corrupted fountains, allowing her to actually down survivors. How do the fountains become corrupted? Well, without add-ons, she starts with only one of these fountains, but each time you cleanse your sickness, you effectively give her one of the most deadly ranged attacks in the game. But before we get into how to counter her special abilities, let's talk about how to recognize that you are going against a plague in the first place. Like the pig in her jigsaw boxes, the plague loads into the map with some unique structures spread across the map, her fountains. You can usually hear these from a few meters away or might even spot them as you're heading towards your first gen. In lower MMR, seeing the plague's unique teachable perk, Corrupt Intervention, means there is a good chance you're probably going against a plague. Corrupt Intervention works very well on a lot of killers as it blocks the 3 generators furthest from the killer, forcing the survivors to move into the map and towards the killer to begin working on gens, which gives the plague time to infect generators with her puke. The plague is also a very tall killer, and she leaves a trail of incense smoke wherever she goes, making her very easy to spot across open maps like, say, Shelter Woods, and making it very difficult for her to mind game at most loops. A good plague will take time infecting generators in the early game so she can get passive damage on survivors while she patrols gens and looks for her victims. She will also not immediately hit you with a basic attack when she spots you. When a survivor becomes injured from the Vile Purge, it does not give you a speed boost like you get when you are hit with a basic attack. So if you are outpositioned and not fully infected, try to bait her into hitting you with a basic attack so you can get distance, or get to a strong loop while she starts to throw up on you. The good news is that after you are fully infected, the plague becomes a very tall, basic M1 killer with no anti-loop, meaning if you are comfortable playing injured, then you can pretty much waste a ton of her time while she tries to get it down, allowing your teammates to work on gens. This brings me to the main reason I'm making this video. Do not cleanse against the plague. You need to learn to play injured against her. When you cleanse and your teammates are sick, you can't work on gens together, you can't be healed by a sick teammate because you'll just be broken by the time they're done healing you, and you can't save hook teammates without getting sick again. More importantly, every time you cleanse your sickness, you're giving the plague the opportunity to pick up her deadly ranged attack, the Corrupt Purge. So by not cleansing, you effectively deny the plague her power, because remember, you can't be down with the Vile Purge. So when should you cleanse? After all the gens are complete, or if you're down to the last one and on death hook, then cleansing might be a good idea. But try to pick a fountain that's far from the doors and far from wherever you and your team might need to be. Her Corrupt Purge is very powerful and can down multiple survivors very quickly, so it usually is better to play infected. There's only a couple of ways though that this plan will fall apart. If you're in solo queue and your teammates cleanse before every save and after every interaction with the killer, it is pretty much game over for you at that point. Her Corrupt Purge can be very difficult to dodge. The only real counter being to get a stun off on her, which will knock her out of her power. If you hear this noise, then avoid her like the plague. See what I did there? Yeah, I know, kind of cringe. The plague also has a couple of add-ons that make her more difficult to deal with. The Black Incense, which reveals the auras of survivors every time they throw up for 3 seconds. The Iridescent Seal, which in my opinion is her strongest add-on, gives her the Corrupt Purge every time a generator is complete for 40 seconds, meaning she doesn't have to go to fountains and she can pretty much just puke on you and down you right then and there. And then of course her 2 Apple add-ons, which start out the match with 2 corrupted fountains instead of just 1. With a decent game sense, you can usually figure out if she's using any of these add-ons and just try to avoid her or stick around tall wall loops while she has her Corrupt Purge activated. So hopefully with all of that, you'll have an easier time going against the plague, unless of course your teammates ignore the most important message of this video: don't freaking cleanse against the plague until you absolutely need to. please, I'm freaking begging you, unless of course I'm playing killer, then yeah, cleanse immediately, over and over and over again so I can get that easy 4K. So with all of that said, if you have any other questions about the plague, please leave them in the comments. I have a lot of hours in her and would be happy to help you on either the killer or survivor side. And if you found this video useful, please give me a like. And if you want more DBD content or any of the other scuff stuff I do over here, subscribe. I'm live on Twitch pretty much all the time at twitch.tv/PeteGunShow and would love to see you over there. So with all that said, stay happy, healthy, sexy, and safe, and I'll see you in the next one.